And the Indiana Fever are 2-1 on the season as they get the win in Atlanta. I was at the game. We're going to talk about all that. I got some great footage at the end of the video that I'd love to share with you guys if you want to hang out and all that. A lot of the music is going to be chopped out because, you know, when you're in the building, you use a lot of stuff that'll get this video yanked. So I'm going to switch the music out, but you guys will see all the footage and everything like that. But first, I just wanted to kind of talk about my experience at the game. It was so fun, man. The State Farm Arena is a great arena. I was there in person, went with my wife, and man, there's nothing like showing up to the building and seeing a lot of narratives die. It was such a cool, chill environment just for everyone that was there. Everyone was there to have a good time. A lot of Fever fans, a lot of Dream fans, everybody very respectful towards one another. No one making any kind of, bad comments to anyone or just being outside of themselves or being rude or disrespectful. It was just everyone was there vibing, having a great time. And, everyone was passionate for their team and even, cheering the plays when the other team will make a good play, cheering for them as well. So if I could recommend it to anybody, if you want to break out of the negativity sometimes of the online narrative, go to a game in your city if you're near one, or fly out if you're able to and go to a game and actually see it in person. And, it was a sold out arena by the time everybody got in there. I happened to get there super early, right as Caitlin was actually finishing her warm up, and I believe Natasha Howard and Bree Turner came out there as well. Saw so many young fans just getting all their stuff signed. I got a little bit of footage of that at the end that I'll throw in. And it just was a really, really cool thing to say, like, oh, I felt like I was really part of like this big event that was coming to town. I had great seats. I was in section 116 and it was so lively all night. One good thing about the Atlanta Dream home games is they use like fight songs of all like famous like rap songs over the years. So every time the Dream has the ball, they switch the song out and then they swap it back to like your normal one when the road team has the ball. And it was a really nice night, man. And the fans were just begging for good things to happen for Caitlin Clark, and we'll talk about it. So as far as the game, the Fever did get the win, 81-76, and these are the type of wins that you kind of look at and you're like, I'll take it. They come with the territory if you're a good team, but I don't think it went down exactly the way many of us would have predicted. This was the Natasha Howard game. It seemed like Atlanta's plan was to scheme off anyone else on the floor and, make the Fever's fourth best player beat them. Well, she kind of did. So big comeback for her, especially for earlier this week where she missed those free throws and missed a game winner against this very team. And it was just a night for her that I think that she needed probably for her confidence. And she was awesome finishing around the rim. We'll go through the stats in a little bit. And she seemed to just bail the team out time and time again. Sometimes even looking off some of her teammates where I'm like, you sure you're not going to pass it to such and such? Like, Kelsey's right there or Caitlin's right there. No, all right, you got it, Natasha. I'll shut up. You the pro. You know what you're doing. So the Atlanta defense was suffocating all night. Caitlin Clark face guarded to hell, up and down, a little bit of extracurricular with Ryan Howard. And Ryan Howard's a beast. And, she is really cold with it, like on offense, and she really accepted the challenge. Defensively, Caitlin was very frustrated, got in foul trouble, played a lot off ball to try to remedy the situation of her getting that face guard, but they're still going to have to look into that because it seemed like they were allowed to be very physical with the Fever, and the Fever really couldn't return that. It seemed like at one point I wondered if the refs had Atlanta Dream jerseys on underneath. And, I tried not to really go so hard on the refs because I don't want to dedicate time to the sports cops because we only notice them when they're bad. We don't ever notice them when they're good. So it's like, I just figure it's something you have to play through, and they played through it tonight, but it still was frustrating. I think a lot of people in the crowd were very concerned that Caitlin Clark was going to foul out the game, and then Lexi Hall also had 5 fouls. Aaliyah Boston was in trouble all night. And it was really difficult to just get things going, but the bench showed up huge. The Jumping Blonde Angels, as I saw them once called, Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall. Lexi Hall is almost playing like Eddie House. Whenever she gets in, it's going up. Why do you pass me the ball if you don't intend for me to shoot it? And she, was able to hit a 3. I believe she got a couple driving shots, and Sophie Cunningham made some timely plays. There was an excellent play at the end of the first quarter, and I've got a great angle of it that I'm going to show you at the end of it. You guys know the one I'm talking about, with Natasha Howard on the screen, and then Sophie on the screen, and then they switch. Sophie goes all the way to half court, but Caitlin kind of orchestrates the whole thing, tells Sophie to wait and run it down until it's 10 seconds left, and that's at the end of the first quarter. The people around me were just baffled with Caitlin Clark's passing. They would get so kind of frustrated, like, I can't believe this is this awesome almost. They weren't angry at her, but they were like, I can't believe she saw this. And the angle that I was sitting was diagonal, so I got a really great view of all the action. Now, mind you, I haven't watched this game on TV or anything, so I don't know how, frustrating it was for you to watch. But, man, I was just having such a good time in the building. I felt the adrenaline of the crowd. And throughout the first half, it felt like the Dream should have actually been up by more, and they were actually losing. I remember I talked with a gentleman that was sitting in front of me. This was the time when both Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston had 4 fouls, and I was like, man, if you would have told me Caitlin would have, 4 points and Aaliyah Boston would have 0, and they both have 4 fouls each, and Lexi was in trouble at that time, and we'd be up 48 to 36, I would not have believed you. Or they had like an 8-point lead or something. And I just chalked that up to the depth. And Natasha Howard was bailing the Fever out time and time again. We do have to talk about this off-ball thing. And, the Fever are 2-1. I don't want to go too crazy or anything like that, but I know a lot of people went to the building last night looking for another Caitlin Clark explosion, and it seemed like it was legislated out of the offense a little bit, where it's like all this motion stuff, and the Connecticut Sun last year, it wasn't their offense that was something that was talked about last year. DeWanna Bonner still has not figured out how to get on the board offensively, and it's rapidly approaching concern status for me. I think Sophie Cunningham probably should get the start and then bring Bonner in off the bench. But I guess Bonner's strength right now is on the defensive end, where she's, just a tree out there. I think they did a really good job on Brittany Griner. She got no type of momentum going anywhere, as she put up a ton of awkward herky-jerky shots that just didn't go in. Tahina Paopao is insanely popular. When she got introduced, it was just a mammoth reception to Paopao. I would probably attribute that to South Carolina being pretty close to Georgia. Crowd was waiting for her to really make some great plays, and it felt like she was a little bit nervous. She played a little bit erratically, a few excess turnovers, and just couldn't quite make the plays that they wanted her to make. She did make a couple threes, but it wasn't exactly what they were looking for. Ryan Howard was awesome, as I mentioned. Lisa Gray was a little quiet in my estimation, and their bench didn't seem to play with the fervor that they did on Tuesday in Indianapolis. I can't believe that the game that I showed up to would be the game that Caitlin Clark would not hit a three-pointer for the first time since her sophomore year in college. What are the odds on that? I did capture her hitting some threes in pregame, though, so I got to see that, so that was pretty cool. But these wins, add up to the same result by the time the end of the season comes. And I'll take the win, even if it's ugly. I believe Caitlin was quoted herself on the Fever social media page saying it was a good win, but it was ugly. And ugly wins happen, and they're not exciting. They're not cause for me to turn the camera on and jump up and down and, just go crazy or make ridiculous reaction videos or anything like that. But this is what professional teams that are contenders do. Sometimes you win ugly. Sometimes it's not your first best player. Sometimes it's not your second best player or even your third. you know. Sometimes it's the bench making a contribution. Sometimes it's somebody you don't expect. And I think, Natasha Howard kind of earned her stripes with the disappointment earlier this week, kind of being something that she wanted to make up from. I think we're still looking for a big game from Bonner. So I would expect that to come probably sooner than later. I just think they have to figure out how to get her in the open court. She's such a great athlete, so long, and the easiest way to get somebody going is, to make a couple layups, is what Caitlin was doing yesterday. She was like, all right, the jumper's not falling, so I got to, get to the rim. And she was able to do something. So let's take a look at the stats, man. So as I mentioned, it was 81-76. We'll start with the Fever. DeWanna Bonner, as I said, minus 12, 0 of 2, 1 point, 8 boards. But, her impact is not been felt this season so far. And I think she's still trying to find her role offensively. I think it could be of value to move her to like the sixth woman and put somebody else in there that can space the floor, like Sophie Cunningham. Natasha Howard, as I mentioned, 26 points, 7 boards, 12 of 17, 70%. Just finishing everything around the rim. And there was a big three-pointer that she missed. She ended up, I believe, getting her own rebound on. That was a really key play towards the end of the game. Aaliyah Boston, only 4 points, just under 24 minutes. Cribble foul trouble all game. Not really going to hold this one against her. Just didn't really get it rolling. By far her worst game of the season, but I think she's much closer to her first 2 games than this one. At the end of the game, her and Caitlin did make the key play where she did make the key layup to essentially seal the win. So shout out to AB. Kelsey Mitchell, when you see her in person, the speed is so blazing. She's just a zipper down the court. Like, I don't know who would beat her in a foot race. And ironically, one of the people that I think probably could match up with her was guarding her in Alicia Gray. So 17 for Kelsey, and she loves that mid-range shot. I just wish she would shoot more threes. Even though she was 1 of 6 from 3, just take the 3. Caitlin Clark, probably one of her worst games, still found a way to be effective. She had 11 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. There are all-time great point guards in this league that have those stats. So like a horrific Caitlin Clark game is the stats of people they call all-time legends. I don't want to say any names. You guys can probably figure out if you go through the history who I'm talking about. So they were very physical with Caitlin, and Caitlin obviously is not going to back down. She's not scared, as she mentioned to Ryan Howard, and I think it is so cool the effect that I saw her have kind of on the arena. So many little girls, people of all walks of life wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys. So like, I reject the narrative that the Caitlin Clark fan or the Indiana Fever fan is just one specific type of person. Nah, folks is rolling deep out here. Lexi Hull, plus 14 off the bench, perhaps the difference maker in this game. Decided she was going to come in and score 10 points, plus 14, 57%, 2 threes. And she's getting a lot of chances to excel within this offense because I feel like they told her, like, hey, you've got the second unit. You're in charge here. Fire it up. And to Lexi's credit, I think she's done nothing but get better over the offseason. I think Unrivaled was really good for her. It took her out of being just a stationary target and gave her the ability to put the ball down, to make decisions off the dribble, whether it's to shoot, attack the rim, or even, pass it off to somebody, which is what you want someone to be able to do, obviously, dribble, pass, shoot. The less one-dimensional that you can be, the more valuable you are. She's going to be a super sub all year. Damaris Dantas was 1 of 5. Not really great on the stat sheet, but she was mirrored with Brittany Griner. 6 boards and put the body on her all night. You could just see it. And, it takes real strength to do that because, like, Brittany Griner's enormous. Like, she's just so much bigger than everybody. You can see it in person, and it's really jarring. So you could easily get, swallowed up in that, as, she had a great game against the Fever on Tuesday night. Sophie Cunningham, debut of the season. I was happy to see her get some action, and I don't think the Fever win this game without her. 9 points, a lot of timely rebounds. She's a plus 10 for the night, and she just happened to be in the right place, the right time, willing to get fouled, willing to go to the line, willing to, shoot those threes and make them. And she's going to be a huge part of this team. I think she's going to eventually end up as the starter. I feel like the team would probably fall into their natural order with that. Boston, Howard, Cunningham, Mitchell Clark. You got 3 3-point threats. You got Boston, who can hit a three, Howard, who can hit a three, and it gives you like 5 people that you kind of got to account for all over the floor. With DeWanna Bonner struggling like this, I think it's almost the only move that can be made right now if you want to actually make a move. Michaela Timpson did not play. I did see a gentleman with the Michaela Timpson Florida State basketball jersey on. I stopped him. I told him, nice jersey. He, was happy somebody kind of pointed it out, and it was really cool, man. There was no Bree Turner action at all. No Timpson either. So, goes like that sometimes. As I mentioned, the Atlanta Dream, 8 of 17 for Ryan Howard with 24 points. She hit so many big shots off the dribble, just frying people. She's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. I think offensively, she's just dangerous. Bree Jones kind of struggled from the field, 4-13, and finished with 15 and 11. Her box score looks a lot better than it felt like she played. Griner, I think, had an awful night. Alicia Gray, also the shooting was off. She was on Caitlin duty in the second half. Pow, 11 points. It's going to look good, but she was struggling. The stat sheet isn't going to really say it too much, but there were too many times that it looked like she had a chance to swing the momentum and like she didn't. So, besides that, just, some of the other players are out there. They were just kind of, filling minutes and all that. But all in all, I had a great time at the game. I thought that the Fever could have played way better, but, you'll take the win however you can get it. And, I'm looking for Caitlin to kind of figure out the physicality, because I think they gave the rest of the league plenty of tape on how to guard this offense this year, this week. So every coach in the league has what the Dream did, and they're going to try to replicate it in their own way. Anybody that's a great athlete that, can take a little bit of the hits is going to be tasked with, just trying to slow this engine down. So this is not going to be the last game that's like this. I know a lot of people are freaking out over the offense and everything like that, but this is going to be a grind. It's going to be a grind, and I think that eventually the talent will win out, and Caitlin will end up looking a lot more how she did the first 2 games than this one. I don't think this was really reflective of Caitlin or Leah Boston. So, let's get to the footage, man. I'll holla at y'all next time. What'd you think of the game? I'll holla at you. This is Rich. Peace. One lifetime.
we're launching No Space for Hate, a league-wide platform to combat hate and harassment both online and in our arenas. The WNBA's code of conduct has a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination or hate speech of any kind. Violation can result in death.
Cook. Time to cook. Great pass. Great pass. Great pass. Back at you. Amazing crowd.
Free
throw game. People trying to head out and hit it. I will do that.
Shooting two for Indiana. 0 plus possession. Team fans, you know what to do.
And it looks like the Fever were able to get the dub.